Hey, welcome back to No Gears, No Glory. Here's our project of the day. This is a friend's 2005 Honda TRX450R. It's a beast of a machine. It's pretty fun. I've ridden this thing a couple of times, and it's basically the newer, better, upgraded version of our 400EX. It is powerful as all hell, but it's been sitting for a little bit, and so it doesn't want to keep running. When you get it started, it just kind of blub 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 dies, blub 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 dies. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna tear into the carb a little bit, clean her up, and see if we can't get her purring and burning right. That's the project for today. If you want to see how she turns out, stay tuned. So the first thing we got to do to get to the carb is take off our seat, our plastics, and get to the tank. So in order to take off the seat, you got a latch right under here. We're just going to push that up, release the seat, pull it out. Then we're going to take off these two bolts here, which are number 10 millimeter sockets. And then you'll notice that Honda broke away from tradition. The rest of these over here, these body panel ones, are actually 8 millimeters, and they do have a washer sleeve in there, so make sure you don't lose those. And so from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a quick time lapse so you guys can watch me take it apart. All right, here we go. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to pull this plastic out. It's just basically in a rubber grommet. Do the same on this side. We're going to do the same in here. Okay. Alright, now we got the back plastic removes. So basically you have 6 different attachment points. You have a screw here and here, you have a bolt here and here, and you have bolts here and on the other side as well. And as you can see, I like to put the bolts back into the threaded housing so we don't lose them, and even if you forget to attach them, they're still there later on when you realize that you screwed up. Alright, we're going to move on to start removing these 8 millimeter threaded nuts or bolts, and here we go. Alright, as you may have seen, there's a handful of 8 millimeter bolts. There's 2 here, and then there's a couple secret ones hiding behind the plastic right here. So there's 2, 2, 2, and I think that's it. And then you have the strap down here that you have to undo from these funny looking round things, whatever those are. Okay, so next what we need to do, see if I can shed a little light on this topic, is we're going to come in here and we're going to disconnect the fuel line here, because it's probably the easier one to get to at the moment with the carburetor. And so we'll just take some needle nose pliers in there, grab this ring, compression ring, and move it off, and we'll pull the hose off and we'll pull the tank. Alright, here we go. So there's a couple of clips in here that I want to take off to get this rubber gasket or whatever you want to call this out of the way. And so we're going to pop those clips off. And again, these type of clips, they break pretty easily, so don't be surprised if they come apart and you have to replace them. it's a good idea to have some on hand, which I do. Loosen the band around the airbox. And I assume we have something similar down here, which we do. This goes into the air intake on the motor. Okay, we have electric connector here. We'll just push in the tab and we'll pull that out. Ideally, that's what would happen. Who knows when the last time this has been out. Alright, so one of the issues you may be able to see, I'm hoping this comes out on camera, is that when we push the throttle, you'll notice the slide is not returning. So that's no bueno. We don't want that. So and just hit that throttle. There we go. Now we're getting partial return, and then it gets stuck again. So that's no good. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the jet. So we're going to pull the float, and then I'm going to start spraying some carb cleaner in here and see if we can't just get things to free up. There just might be, again, varnish on everything in there. I'm trying not to take all the lines off since I'm not super familiar with this carb, just to make my life easier. But if we have to, we'll dig into it further. Alright, let's pray I don't get any of this carb cleaner on you guys. Now we're getting return on the slide. Already got gasoline on the floor. It's a little bit of carb clean. Alright, step one down. So basically, take off a float bowl. You should have 4 screws. So we're going to go ahead and take these off. We have the idle adjustment here. Get that out of the way, and then we'll go for that. So let me get a good fitting Phillips head. You want to make sure your Phillips heads that you use for these types of screws are a good fitting Phillips, because these are easily stripped out. They're a soft, like brass type screw, so you don't want to mess around with that. Alright, so we're basically just going to take some carb cleaner. We're just going to shoot it in there and just give her a good clean. The O-ring just came off, which was going to be in my next statement. Make sure your O-ring comes off so that way you don't ruin it. Carb clean is not good on rubber components. Alright, so next thing I want to do is I want to remove this jet. And this particular one, I imagine they're all similar, the same, is a 6mm. I'm going to inspect that. And it's pretty see-through, but we're going to blow some carb cleaner through it. Be right back. And I'm back. Now we shot some carb cleaner through that. We're going to shoot some through this, and that's a different size. Now this next jet down is a 7mm. Alright, now here's that main jet. And you can see there's definitely some varnish on this. Yeah, there's definitely some varnish on there. So we'll go ahead and clean that up. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a light brush, brass brush. Do not use a stainless steel or a hard wire brush on it. And we're going to take some carb clean. We're just going to brush it off. Alright, we're going to put our main jet back in. Tighten her down. Another jet back on that. Alright, we have our 2 jets back in, snug down. Now we're going to take out this last jet right here with a flathead screwdriver. We're going to do the same thing. Just going to take it, blow it out, brush it off with a few spritz of carb clean. Alright, now we clean that out. We're just going to put her back in and snug it down. Don't force it in. Do not cross thread this. Your carburetor will be a wonderful, ugly paperweight at that point. Alright. Float seems to be okay. I did spray some carb cleaner in here. There's a, I forget the name of the piece, but basically it's the float needle. Thank you. There we go. Float needle in here that controls the flow of gasoline into the float bowl. That seems to be working pretty alright. Alright. Let's check our needle action. See how that looks. That seems to be much better. Much better. And I imagine once we get fuel flowing through there pretty regularly, it'll kind of clean itself out again. I'm going to do one last shot of carb cleaner in there as we're moving. Alright, well, I wouldn't call that a thorough cleaning of the carburetor. I would consider that a decent cleaning. and pretty good for right now. A thorough cleaning would actually be taking everything apart, cleaning the whole interior of it, the jets and everything, just brushing everything out. Let it maybe sit in the carb cleaner for a little while. But we don't need to do that. I think this will actually be thorough enough. If not, that'll be our next step. So what we're going to do is put our float surround on there. And we want to put our O-ring back on here. So basically right now, just trying to line up this gasket back to the edge of the float bowl, and so that we can put this back on. And I'm not sure it's gonna want to go. Hoping we can get this in place and make it work. Yep, fell out of place. Well, it turns out I'm probably going to fight with this for a little while. So what we're doing now is I'm just going to put this back together so I have the pieces together, and I'm going to order a new gasket for this float bowl. Alright, so here we are back in the garage. Everything you've seen up to this point right now has actually been a couple of months ago. It's Arizona. I work out in the heat all day, and it's hot in the garage. I don't have a cooler in here yet. And it's just been hard to get out here and do the work, even though there's only a little bit left to be done today. So where we're at right now, just to touch base, just got to put the float bowl back on. Had a little bit of trouble with getting the gasket to go there in place. And so we're going to fix that, and then just putting it all back together. Alright, let's get to it. What I hold in my hand right now is the holy grail of my garage, currently. I have been working on this quad. Well, when I say working on it, it's been sitting for pretty much the last 2 months, idle, untouched, until just this week. But I've needed this part for quite a while. This is the float bowl gasket, replaced, new, ready to go. We can put it on, put this thing back together, and see if she'll run. All right, here we go. Now here is the old, stiff gasket. Here is the new, pliable, soft, wonderful gasket. First of all, now with this new gasket, see how it sits in the pocket here. There we go. Oh, perfection. Perfection. I love it. Sits right in there just the way it should. It's like it was made for it. By Honda. Alright, let's put this thing back together. So we got the float bowl on, and now it's time to just sync it all back up. And it's a bit of a tight squeeze to get this carb back in here, but I think I can do it without loosening up the ear box. Lots of hope I can do it. Got it out without it, right? Now the issue I'm having right now is just getting these bands on to tighten down the intake and the throttle on the carburetor here. You want to make sure that these are aligned all the way around the grooved portion of your boots, and that way you got a good seal and you're not going to have a leak and you're not going to be pulling in dirty air, all that good stuff. Alright, so here is the moment of truth. We're going to see if she starts and how well she runs. Full transparency, I've already done that off camera. In fact, I filmed a whole outro about this, and it was completely blurry, completely unusable. You guys would have hated me. So we're doing it again. I do know it runs. She runs great. I'm going to show you though. Well, there you have it. She runs pretty good. We took her up the road and around the block, and my neighbor, again, who this belonged to, is very happy with it, and I was pretty happy with it. She purrs like a kitten, takes off like a bat out of hell, and can't ask for more than that. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you guys taking the time, and hope you learned something. If not, hope you enjoyed at least watching it. And if you haven't done so, if you like this content, please give me a subscribe. Hit that like button for me. And see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.